The roar of the crowd still rang in my ears as the final buzzer sounded, sealing our victory over the state Titans. Quinn Thompson had just hit the game-winning three-pointer, but any joy was sucked out of the moment when Miranda Hayes pushed through the chaos straight toward me in the dimly lit visitors' locker room. Hallway later that night, her fingers wrapped around my wrist like a lifeline, her voice barely above a whisper as she said, "Quinn, I can't do this anymore. I've been in love with you since that brutal finals game last year." My heart slammed against my ribs, not from the adrenaline of the game but from pure terror. Miranda, the woman who had been my sworn enemy on the court for 2 seasons, the one who had elbowed me in the paint, trash talked me through every matchup, and celebrated like it was personal whenever her team edged us out. This had to be some kind of twisted joke, or maybe the heat of the game had finally broken her. I yanked my hand free, glancing over my shoulder for any sign of my teammates from the University of Western States Hawks. "What the hell are you talking about? This is some sick joke, right?" "No joke," she replied, stepping closer. Her hazel eyes that always burned with competitive fire now held a raw vulnerability that made my stomach twist. "Every time we played, it was more than just competition for me, Quinn. Last year when you sank that buzzer beater in the finals, I watched you celebrate with your team, and something inside me broke. I realized I didn't want to beat you anymore. I wanted to be the reason you smiled like that." The words hung between us, heavy and dangerous. The hallway smelled of sweat and rubber from the court, and distant echoes of celebration filtered from our locker room. I was 21, a junior with a full-ride scholarship, my entire future tied to basketball, and the image of the perfect athlete. Growing up in a conservative suburb outside Austin, Texas, my mother had raised me and my sister on strict Baptist values where love was only between man and woman and anything else was whispered about as sin. Basketball had been my sanctuary, the one place where I could channel all my energy without questions. Now this confession threatened to shatter the fragile world I had built. I backed away, my palms sweaty. "Miranda, you need to leave. If anyone sees us talking like this." My voice trailed off, the implications too terrifying to voice. She looked hurt but determined, her tall athletic frame still in her Titans uniform, the number 23 bold on her chest. "I know the risks, Quinn. But pretending has been killing me. Meet me tomorrow at the old coffee shop off campus, the one near the river. Just to talk. Please." Before I could respond, footsteps approached and she slipped away into the shadows. I stood frozen for a moment, then rushed back to my team where cheers and high fives awaited. Sarah, my best friend and teammate, pulled me into a hug. "You were on fire tonight, Quinn, MVP for sure. But you look like you saw a ghost." "What happened?" "Nothing," I lied, forcing a smile. "Just the adrenaline crash." Inside, my mind replayed Miranda's words on loop. Love. From her. It was impossible. Later that night in my dorm room, I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, the victory trophy from the game sitting on my desk mocking me. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "Proud of you, sweetheart. God is blessing your hard work. Remember to keep your focus. Maybe that nice boy from church youth group will be at the next game." I groaned, rolling over. Mom never missed a chance to nudge me toward the life she envisioned: marriage to a good Christian man, kids, and a career that didn't overshadow family. Dad had left when I was 12, but his absence only made her grip tighter on what remained. Emily, my older sister, had followed the script, perfectly engaged to her college sweetheart. I was the wild card, the athlete who spent more time in the gym than at Bible study. Sleep evaded me as memories flooded back. Last year's finals. The Titans had us down by 2 with seconds left. I drove to the basket, drew the foul, and somehow the shot went in after the whistle. The arena erupted, but as I glanced at the opposing bench, Miranda's face stood out, not angry but something else, a look of admiration mixed with pain that I had dismissed as defeat. Had that been the moment? The next morning I told myself I wouldn't go. But by afternoon my feet carried me to the coffee shop anyway, curiosity and a strange pull winning over fear. Miranda was already there at a corner table, 2 lattes in front of her. She looked different out of uniform in jeans and a simple hoodie, her dark hair loose around her shoulders. "Thanks for coming," she said softly as I sat down. "I don't know why I did," I admitted, my voice low. "This is crazy, Miranda. We're rivals. Our teams hate each other. And I'm not." I couldn't say the words. "Gay," she finished gently. "You don't have to label it yet. I just needed you to know the truth. I've been carrying this for a year, watching you from afar. The way you lead your team with such passion, the determination in your eyes. It drew me in and I couldn't fight it." We talked for hours, the conversation flowing from basketball to dreams to the pressures we both faced. She came from a more liberal family in California, but even there being a female athlete came with stereotypes. As the sun set, I realized I hadn't felt this scene in a long time. But as we parted ways with a promise to keep it secret, the weight of reality crashed down. One conversation couldn't change who I was supposed to be. Or could it? That night another call from home. Your coach called, said you're captain material, Quinn. Don't let anything distract you this season. The season? My team. If this got out, it would be over. The whispers, the stares, the loss of respect. I curled up, hugging my knees, the internal war beginning to rage. Part of me wanted to run to Miranda again to explore this spark. The other part screamed to bury it deep before it consumed everything I had fought for. Little did I know that spark was about to ignite a fire that would test every part of my life. The next week blurred into practices and classes where I forced myself to act normal, but every closed I brought Miranda's face back. We met again at the coffee shop, this time under the cover of evening when the place stayed quiet. She waited with the same 2 lattes and a smile that tightened my chest in ways I could not explain. As we talked, I opened up about the constant pressure from my mom to be the perfect daughter, the one who would make the family proud by walking the straight path of faith and tradition. Miranda listened without a single judgment, her hand brushing mine across the table in touches that sent unexpected warmth through me. I told myself it meant nothing, but the truth sat heavy that the more time we stole, the harder denial became. One evening after a rough practice where my shots clanged off the rim because my mind wandered, Sarah pulled me aside in the locker room. Quinn, you've been off lately. Is everything okay at home, or is there something else? I brushed it off with a laugh, but the suspicion in her eyes lingered like a bad foul. Meanwhile, my mom called again, insisting I come home for the weekend to meet the boy from the church group who had asked about me. I made excuses about team commitments, but the guilt stacked higher with each lie. When I told Miranda about the call during our next secret meeting, she suggested a walk by the river to clear our heads. As we moved through the cool evening air, she stopped under a streetlight and looked straight at me. Quinn, I don't want to push you, but I feel we are meant for more than hiding. I want to be with you without fear one day. Her words scared me yet stirred something deep. For the first time I reached out and took her hand. We stood there, the river flowing steady beside us, and for those minutes the world felt aligned. But the cost showed immediately in my game. In the next match against a lower-ranked team, I missed easy layups. The coach pulled me to the side, yelling to get my head straight. The team noticed my distraction, and quiet comments started behind my back. I knew a decision loomed, but the draw to Miranda grew stronger than the fear. Slowly I paid the price of these feelings, the internal battle ripping at me as family expectations slammed against this new pull. Sarah cornered me again after film session, asking if I was seeing someone, and I denied it too quickly. The lie tasted bitter. Miranda and I kept meeting, stealing hours in hidden spots, talking about our fears, our dreams, the way basketball both saved and trapped us. Each time I left her, I drove back to campus, replaying her words, weighing the joy against the coming storm. My shots improved when I focused, but the second I let my mind drift, the ball betrayed me. Coach called me into his office, warning that captains could not afford distractions. I nodded, promising better, but inside I wondered how long I could balance both worlds. The phone calls from home grew more insistent, my mom sending Bible verses about staying on the narrow path. Emily texted photos of her wedding plans, asking when I would find someone real. The contrast cut deep. One night after a long talk with Miranda where she shared how her own family had slowly accepted her truth, I lay awake deciding to take one more step. I texted her that I wanted to see her again soon. The reply came quick with a heart emoji that made me smile despite everything. Yet as I drifted to sleep, the image of my mother's disappointed face haunted me. The fire was spreading, and I had no idea how to contain it without burning everything down. Weeks slipped by, and the secret meetings with Miranda became the highlight I both craved and dreaded. We found safer spots, a quiet park bench after dark or her car parked far from campus lights. Each time we talked deeper, she asked about my childhood, the way my dad left, and how basketball became my escape from the emptiness. I asked about her life in California, where her parents supported her game but still expected grandkids one day. The connection felt real, solid in ways no friendship ever had. One afternoon after practice, Sarah waited by my locker, her arms crossed. Quinn, I saw you with that Titans player Miranda the other night. What is going on? My stomach dropped. I lied, claiming it was just post-game talk about strategy, but Sarah's eyes narrowed. You've changed. The team feels it too. If this affects us on the court. She left the threat hanging. I brushed past her, heart racing. That night I told Miranda about the close call, and she held my hand tighter. We cannot keep this up forever, Quinn. But I am willing to wait until you are ready. Her patience both comforted and pressured me. The next home game my family surprised me by driving up. Mom hugged me tight, whispering how proud she was and how the church group boy would love to meet me after. Emily smiled knowingly, asking if there was anyone special. I forced laughs and changed the subject, but inside the lies piled like bricks. On the court I played tense, missing open passes, glancing at the stands where Miranda sat disguised in a hoodie watching. We won, but coach pulled me again. Your head is not here, Thompson. Fix it or the captain's spot goes to Sarah. The warning hit hard. After the game, Miranda texted to meet at our spot. I went despite the risk. We sat in her car talking for hours until she leaned in and our foreheads touched. No words, just that quiet closeness that made everything else fade. But as I drove back, guilt crashed over me. I had chosen this path, and the price was my focus, my team standing, my family trust. The following week, rumors spread in the locker room about me acting different. Sarah stopped inviting me to team dinners. My performance dipped further. One game where I turned the ball over 5 times, the crowd booed. Coach benched me for the 4th quarter. Sitting there, I realized the cost was real, my dream of pro ball slipping because I could not shut off the feelings. Miranda called after hearing about the benching, offering to back off if it helped, but I told her no. The thought of losing her hurt more than the bench. That decision felt right yet terrifying. Family called the next day, Mom sensing something wrong, pressing for details. I hung up crying for the first time in years. The internal storm raged harder, each choice pulling me deeper into the conflict between who I was raised to be and who I was becoming. The betrayal came without warning. Sarah cornered me after a morning workout, her face hard. I saw you and Miranda holding hands last night, Quinn. I covered for you once, but this is affecting the team. The coach needs to know. I begged her to stay quiet, promising it would not impact play, but she shook her head. You're not the same leader. The team deserves better. That afternoon, coach called me in, showing texts from Sarah. Is this true, Thompson? I denied everything, claiming it was a misunderstanding, but his eyes said he did not believe me. He warned that any more issues and I would be suspended. The news spread through the team in whispers, looks of confusion and judgment. My phone blew up with messages from teammates asking what was going on. I turned it off and drove straight to Miranda. She hugged me as soon as I arrived. We will face this together. But I felt the walls closing. That weekend, my family arrived for a big game. Mom pulled me aside before tip-off. People are talking, Quinn. About you and some girl. Tell me it is not true. I lied again, saying it was team drama, but her face showed she knew. During the game, I played with fire in my veins, scoring 20 points, but turning the ball over at key moments. We lost by 1. After the final horn, Emily found me in the tunnel. Mom is devastated. If this is real, you need to stop before it destroys us all. Her words cut deep, the family bond one had always relied on cracking. Miranda waited in the parking lot. When I told her about the family confrontation, she offered to speak to them, but I refused, knowing it would make things worse. That night, Mom called crying, quoting scripture about sin and repentance. I hung up shaking. The moral weight crushed me. Was hiding the truth protecting my family, or betraying myself? Miranda and I met the next day, deciding to slow down. But the damage was done. Coach benched me for the next game, Sarah taking captain duties. The team distanced itself, the prejudice subtle, but clear, and avoided eye contact, and changed conversations. I paid the price in isolation, my once solid support system fracturing. Miranda faced her own fallout when a teammate spotted us and questioned her loyalty to her school. She stood firm, but I saw the toll in her tired eyes. The choices we made now carried real consequences, the relationships we valued hanging by threads. The climax hit during the rematch against Miranda's team. The arena packed with fans who sensed the tension. Coach started me but warned one mistake and I was out. Miranda and I locked eyes during warm-ups, the rivalry now mixed with something deeper. The game was physical, every screen a reminder of our hidden bond. In the 3rd quarter, I drove to the basket, Miranda guarding me close. As I went up for the shot, her hand brushed mine, the contact electric. I missed the layup, the crowd groaned. Coach yelled from the sideline. Focus, Thompson. Halftime came with us down by 10. In the locker room, Sarah confronted me again. This is because of her, isn't it? The team is suffering because of your choices. I snapped back, defending myself, but the words felt hollow. The second half I played with everything but the stress showed. Miranda hit a key three to tie the game, her eyes finding mine in the celebration. With seconds left I had the ball, Miranda defending. I hesitated, the moral war inside freezing me. She stole the ball and scored the winner. The final buzzer sounded defeat heavy. After the game my family waited outside the locker room. Mom grabbed my arm. "We know, Quinn. Emily told us everything. This ends now or you are not welcome home." The confrontation exploded in the parking lot, Mom crying, Dad silent, Emily looking guilty for the betrayal. I stood there torn between the life I knew and the one calling me. Miranda appeared from the shadows, seeing the scene. She stepped forward. "Mrs. Thompson, this is not Quinn's fault. I love her." The words hung the air thick with shock. Mom turned away, pulling the family to the car. "You have until tomorrow to decide, Quinn. God or this." Miranda held me as they drove off. "I have to choose," she whispered. "Stay with me or go back." The night stretched endless as I weighed the prices: the family rift, the lost captaincy, the scholarship risk, the team fracture. Miranda offered to transfer schools to make it easier, but I knew that was her sacrifice, not mine. The moral dilemma tore at me, right or wrong no longer clear. By morning I had made my choice, but the cost would be steep. The days after the game blurred into painful decisions. I moved out of the dorm into a cheap apartment, Miranda helping carry boxes, her presence steady, but the silence between us heavy with what came next. Coach called me and offering a final chance if I ended the distraction, but I refused, knowing the lie would destroy me more. The team voted Sarah captain, the announcement stinging like a loss. My scholarship hung by a thread, the athletic department citing conduct issues. Mom sent one last text. "We love you, but we cannot support this choice." The money stopped, the calls ended. Emily texted once apologizing, but the damage was done. Miranda faced backlash to her coach benching her for team chemistry reasons. We sat on the park bench where we once walked hand in hand, the sun setting golden. "I paid the price, Quinn," she said softly. "My family understands, but my career took a hit." I nodded, the weight of every choice settling. Yet in that moment, looking at her, the woman who had risked everything for me, I felt the awakening. This love was not the easy path, but it was mine. We embraced the park, empty around us, the happiness real despite the losses. I transferred to a smaller school, keeping my game alive, but the pro dreams faded. Miranda stayed fighting for her spot. The rifts with family healed slowly with time, but never fully. Friends distanced themselves, the prejudice a quiet shadow. Yet I woke each day knowing the truth. The internal conflict that once raged now settled into quiet strength. The prices paid were high: family ties, career momentum, social standing, but the freedom to love openly brought a peace no victory on the court ever matched. Looking back at the locker room confession that started it all, I wonder about the road not taken. In the end, was fighting for this love the bravest thing I ever did, or did it selfishly tear apart everything that once defined me?